The conflict known as the Seed War begins in Genesis chapter 3, verse 15, where God pronounces judgment on the serpent after the fall of man. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel. This passage establishes the ongoing spiritual battle between the seed of the woman, humanity, and ultimately the Messiah, and the seed of the serpent, the agents of Satan and the fallen angels. The serpent's goal is clear: to corrupt humanity and prevent the coming of the Messiah, who would defeat Satan and restore divine order. This enmity becomes most apparent in Genesis chapter 6, where the sons of God, the fallen angels, come down to earth and intermarry with human women, producing the Nephilim giants who spread corruption across the earth. This corruption wasn't just physical. The Book of Enoch tells us that the fallen angels, known as the Watchers, brought with them forbidden knowledge, teaching humanity the secrets of astrology, alchemy, weaponry, and other dark arts. Enoch chapter 7 verses 1 and 2 reveal that the angels instructed humanity in hidden sciences that corrupted both their minds and their spiritual understanding, contributing to the rise of evil across the earth. This knowledge had a cosmic dimension as well. The stars, planets, and moon were no longer simply signs of divine intention, but became tools of manipulation. The fallen angels sought to use this antediluvian knowledge to interfere with God's plan by corrupting the natural order and teaching humanity to interpret the heavens in ways that defied their original purpose. Thus, the Seed War wasn't just a battle for physical domination, it was a war for the sacred knowledge of the heavens, a knowledge that was meant to guide humanity toward God, but was instead weaponized against it by the fallen angels. In the ancient world, the stars, planets, and moon were seen as markers of divine timing, guiding people in their understanding of sacred festivals, prophecy, and cosmic cycles. This knowledge was integral to understanding the times and seasons, both in the physical and spiritual sense. The moon was particularly important, with its phases marking key moments in religious calendars. The Hebrews, for example, observed the new moon as a sacred time to begin each month, and many of their festivals, including Passover and Sukkot, were tied to lunar cycles. The Book of Jubilees, which focuses on the divine calendar, emphasizes that God's people must observe these times and seasons as ordained by the movements of the heavens. But it wasn't just the moon. The Mazzaroth, or the Hebrew zodiac, was believed to be a cosmic clock that told the story of God's plan. The constellations were seen as signs of prophetic events, reflecting the battle between light and darkness, between the Messiah and the forces of evil. For instance, the constellation Virgo, the Virgin, was seen as a symbol of the Virgin Mary, who would give birth to the Messiah, while Leo the Lion represented Christ as the Lion of Judah, coming in victory. Even in the Greco-Roman world, astrological events were interpreted as omens signaling the rise of kings or the fall of empires. The Magi, who followed the Star of Bethlehem, were likely skilled in interpreting these celestial signs, recognizing that a special luminary had appeared to announce the birth of the King of Kings. The Magi, who followed the Star of Bethlehem, are a perfect example of how ancient people used celestial signs to interpret divine events. The star that guided them to the birthplace of Christ is often debated. Was it a natural astronomical event, such as a conjunction of planets, or was it a supernatural occurrence, perhaps an angelic light or divine manifestation? The Gospel of Matthew tells us that the wise men from the east were guided by a star to the exact location of Christ's birth. This is not typical behavior for a star or planet. It moved and guided them with precision. This has led many to believe that the Star of Bethlehem was not merely a conjunction of planets, but rather a special luminary, part of God's cosmic plan to reveal the Messiah's birth at the exact appointed time. The Magi would have been familiar with the traditions of Babylonian astrology, which saw the stars and planets as reflections of divine will. Some modern interpretations suggest that the star could have been an alignment of Jupiter and Saturn, but given its behavior and the timing of Christ's birth, it seems more likely that this was a supernatural event designed specifically to announce the coming of the King. The Book of Enoch provides a unique window into the heavenly bodies and how they were viewed in ancient times. In 1 Enoch, the astronomical book describes the movements of the sun, moon, and stars as part of a divine order established by God. Enoch, guided by the angel Uriel, is shown the workings of the cosmic calendar, which governs both the natural and spiritual worlds. In this vision, Enoch sees the courses of the heavenly bodies, and it becomes clear that the angels play a critical role in maintaining the order of the heavens. The Watchers, those angels who rebelled against God, once had access to this knowledge, but their rebellion led to their downfall. In their corrupted state, they shared some of this knowledge with humanity, leading to the rise of the Nephilim and the dark arts that corrupted the earth. The Book of Enoch warns that the fallen angels' interference with heavenly knowledge would bring about judgment, but God would ultimately restore the true understanding of the times and seasons to his people. This restoration of heavenly knowledge is critical to understanding the seed war, as it indicates that God's people must be aligned with his divine timing to fully understand the unfolding of his plan. But what if this knowledge, once accessible to humanity, has now been deliberately hidden? The idea that God has obscured the full understanding of the heavens, their cycles, seasons, and signs, to confound the fallen angels and their seed is a powerful one. Just as God confused the languages at Babel to prevent humanity from reaching too far, perhaps he has similarly obscured the heavens to prevent the fallen angels from deciphering his plans. In military strategy, the term fog of war refers to the confusion and uncertainty that arise in the heat of battle. In the spiritual realm, this same concept could apply to the cosmic war between God and Satan. By creating a spiritual fog, God may be keeping his enemies from understanding the full scope of his plan, making it impossible for them to predict the timing of critical events such as the return of Christ or the final judgment. There are several examples in Scripture where heavenly signs are obscured or delayed to confound the enemy. In Joel 2:31, we read that the sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord. These are signs of impending judgment, but the timing of these events remains hidden. Even Jesus himself said that no one knows the day or the hour of his return, not even the angels, Matthew 24:36. Before we move further, it's essential to examine the vast body of ancient texts that have preserved fragments of the lost knowledge of the heavens. These texts provide invaluable insights into how ancient civilizations understood the connection between the cosmos, divine intervention, and the prophetic timeline that guides the ongoing seed war. From the Babylonians to the Greeks, from the Egyptians to the Hebrews, each culture had its own way of interpreting the celestial signs and embedding them into their spiritual and political frameworks. The Sibylline oracles, prophetic stars, and celestial signs. The Sibylline oracles, a collection of prophetic writings from the ancient Greeks and Romans, are filled with references to astronomical events as markers of divine intervention. These prophecies spoke of the rise and fall of empires, often predicted through stars, eclipses, and other heavenly signs. The oracles reflect a broader belief that the heavens were a mirror for what would transpire on earth, and that kings and kingdoms could rise or be destroyed depending on the movements of the stars. In the context of the seed war, the Sibylline oracles provide insight into how ancient mystics interpreted celestial phenomena as direct influences on spiritual warfare. The stars and constellations were viewed as part of the divine order, which could signal the coming of both messianic figures and the rise of dark powers. The Enuma Anu Enlil, Babylonian omens, and the celestial calendar. One of the most comprehensive collections of celestial knowledge in the ancient world comes from the Babylonians. The Enuma Anu Enlil, a series of over 70 clay tablets, meticulously records the meanings behind planetary movements, eclipses, and comet appearances. For the Babylonians, these astronomical events were not random. They were seen as messages from the gods, guiding political decisions and foretelling divine judgments. The Enuma Anu Enlil serves as a critical piece of the puzzle when understanding the seed war. The Babylonians believed that the heavens revealed the struggle between divine and rebellious forces, which aligns with the Watchers, fallen angels, corrupting knowledge in the antediluvian world. The knowledge that the Babylonians captured on their clay tablets could have been remnants of this corrupted wisdom, teaching them how to read the heavens, but often in ways that aligned with occultic practices. The Astronomica by Manilius, celestial bodies as divine guides. In Roman times, Manilius's Astronomica expanded upon the belief that the heavens held divine secrets that could influence human events. This text is an early synthesis of astrological traditions, drawing from Babylonian, Egyptian, and Greek knowledge. Manilius described the planets, constellations, and stars as governing not just the fate of individuals, but the very rise and fall of nations. This aligns with the seed war, as ancient astrologers sought to decode the cosmic battle between good and evil through the lens of astrology. While Manilius was part of a Roman pagan system, his writings reflect the broader idea that the heavens act as a kind of cosmic battlefield where divine forces and dark powers compete for influence over the earth. The Chaldean oracles emerged from the traditions of Babylonian astrology, later blending into Neoplatonic mysticism. The oracles emphasized the connection between the heavens and the spiritual realm, often describing the stars and planets as participants in a divine struggle between light and darkness. In the context of the seed war, the Chaldean oracles reinforced the notion that the heavens were not passive observers, but active participants in the cosmic battle. The oracles speak of the soul's journey through the heavenly spheres, revealing that the stars were not just markers of time, but also players in the broader conflict between divine forces and the rebellious angels. The Mulapin tablets, another significant Babylonian text, offer detailed astronomical observations of the moon, sun, and stars. These tablets reveal how the Babylonians calculated the movements of celestial bodies to mark seasons, agricultural cycles, and divine events. While the Mulapin focuses heavily on practical astronomy, its emphasis on divine timing ties it to the broader understanding of the seed war, where knowing the proper times and seasons could make the difference between victory and defeat. The Hermetic corpus, attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, blends Egyptian, Greek, and Babylonian ideas of the cosmos, suggesting that the stars and planets are imbued with divine intelligence. In the corpus, the heavens reflect the mind of God, and understanding their movements is key to unlocking spiritual truths. The Hermetic texts contain wisdom that may have been preserved from the time before the flood, hinting at a hidden knowledge of the cosmos that was once accessible but now veiled. In terms of the seed war, the Hermetic corpus points to the idea that celestial bodies hold hidden spiritual power, and those who understand their mysteries can influence the outcome of the cosmic battle between good and evil. This esoteric tradition mirrors the knowledge once held by the Watchers, who corrupted it to mislead humanity and oppose God's plan. Among the Dead Sea Scrolls, we find fragments of the astronomical Book of Enoch, an early version of the Book of Enoch that focuses on the precise movements of the sun, moon, and stars. This text was critical to understanding the divine calendar that governed both sacred festivals and prophetic events. The astronomical Enoch suggests that the angels once controlled the heavens, guiding the movements of the stars and planets until their rebellion corrupted the cosmic order. The idea that the fallen angels no longer have full access to this knowledge is crucial in understanding how God may be using the heavens as a means of divine concealment in the ongoing seed war. By obscuring the full understanding of the stars and planets, God is ensuring that the enemy cannot fully decipher his divine timeline. In Egyptian cosmology, the stars were not just objects in the sky. They were believed to be dwellings of the gods and gateways to the afterlife. The Egyptian Book of the Dead provides insight into how the moon, constellations, and stars were understood to guide souls in their journey toward the divine. Certain stars, such as Orion, were associated with Osiris, the god of the underworld, representing death and resurrection. For the Egyptians, the stars were integral to their spiritual practices, and understanding their movements was key to spiritual transformation. This knowledge parallels the Seed War, where the ability to interpret the heavens could reveal divine prophecy or give insight into the timing of God's intervention. Like the fallen angels, the ancient Egyptians sought to use celestial knowledge to align with spiritual powers, though often for purposes contrary to God's plan. Part 6: Ancient Texts and the Battle for Cosmic Knowledge. The ancient texts we've discussed, such as the Enuma Anu Enlil, the Sibylline oracles, and the Hermetic corpus, all point to a time when celestial knowledge was seen as essential for understanding the divine will. The Babylonians believed that astronomical events were messages from the gods foretelling the rise and fall of kings. The Egyptians saw the stars and planets as dwellings of the gods and used them to guide their religious practices. But today, much of this knowledge has been lost. We no longer look to the heavens for divine signs, and the cosmic clock that once guided humanity has been replaced by a secular understanding of the universe. Could it be that this loss of knowledge is not accidental? Could it be that God has intentionally veiled the heavens to protect his plan from the fallen angels? If the fallen angels could no longer read the heavens as they once did, they would be blind to God's unfolding plan. The Seed War is not just about physical descendants, but also about spiritual knowledge. Knowledge that God may be intentionally keeping hidden until the appointed time. Part 7. Has this knowledge been recovered? While much of this knowledge may have been obscured, there are signs that remnants of it still exist. The rise of esoteric traditions, mystical schools, and secret societies throughout history suggests that fragments of this ancient knowledge have been passed down, hidden in plain sight. From the Kabbalistic text to the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, these traditions point to a hidden understanding of the heavens that is closely guarded. But as we approach the last days, there is reason to believe that this knowledge will be restored. The prophet Daniel was told to shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Daniel 12:4. This suggests that as we near the culmination of the Seed War, the veil will be lifted and the hidden knowledge of the heavens will be revealed once more. The Seed War is ongoing, and the battle between the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent continues to unfold. While much of the ancient knowledge of the heavens has been lost or obscured, there are clues in the ancient texts that point to a deliberate veiling of this information by God to prevent the fallen angels from fully understanding his plan. As we navigate these mysterious times, it's important to stay vigilant and to watch the heavens, for they still hold the keys to understanding the divine timetable and the unfolding of God's ultimate victory. If you found this deep dive into the ancient texts, the Seed War, and the lost knowledge of the heavens insightful, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's continue this journey together as we seek to uncover the truths hidden in the stars and prepare for the final phase of this cosmic battle. Stay tuned for more explorations into the mysteries of the antediluvian world, prophecy, and the spiritual warfare that defines our times. Until next time, and keep seeking the truth, because the truth will set you free.